What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm LotusAsakura, the one who never knows best, bringing you another video talking again about Pokemon trading card game Pocket and the trading feature. That's not very much of a trading feature. It's not really much of a trading card game, is it? Yeah, so I made a video just recently basically bashing the game for its trading feature and how bad I think the feature is and how poorly implemented that it was. And you know, there's been a lot of discourse about it on Twitter. I hadn't really seen too many other creators make videos talking about it as well. I mean, you know, some people have mentioned it in their videos or whatever, but I basically went off on a whole rant about how bad I thought it was and how much sense it didn't make. And you guys have, of course, made your voices heard as well. So much so, in fact, that on the official Pokemon trading card game Pocket Twitter, they have issued a statement addressing it and talking about it. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Let me zoom in even more here for you guys. It reads, trading feature update. Since releasing the first iteration of the trading feature a few days ago, we have received a large number of comments. Thank you all for sharing your feedback. A lot of negative comments. The item requirements and restrictions implemented for the trading feature were designed to prevent abuse from bots and other prohibited actions using multiple accounts. Understandably so. Like I said before, I think most of us understand that if there weren't some sort of restrictions or limitations in place, people would just re-roll accounts, trade with themselves, or you know, start a secondary market where they're selling stuff to people, and you know what I'm saying, like selling accounts or selling cards for real money and everything like that, which again would not be healthy for the game or the community and would ultimately lead to the game getting shut down. Also, I just realized I still have my chat on screen, which I meant to take off because I'm recording this live on my Twitch channel right now, twitch.tv/LotusAsakura, links to the description down below. But it's all right, y'all gotta wait pretty little ahead about that. But anyway, we understand that there had to be some sort of restrictions, but they just went way too far with it, and then also the cost of trading is way too high, right? Our goal was to balance the game while maintaining a fair environment for all players and preserving the fun of collecting cards that is core to the Pokemon TCG Pocket experience. You know what should be part of the core experience of Pokemon TCG Pocket? The T, you know? It's not called the Pokemon collectible card game, even though they are obviously collectible cards. It is the Pokemon trading card game. And with such a weak trading feature, you're missing out on what should be a core feature of the experience. However, thanks to your feedback, we understand that some of the restrictions put in place are preventing players from being able to casually enjoy the feature as intended. I went on record to say that I feel as though the feature, like, not only is it like really disappointing, it can hardly be used by anybody. If you're a whale, you can't really use it at all because there's zero benefit to you. And if you're free to play, you probably don't have enough bulk to sacrifice in order to acquire enough tokens to even get the card that you may be missing in the event that you even have multiples of a card that you're willing to give up. You know what I'm saying? It's just very few people are able to actually take advantage of this, and even the people who are, they're only going to be able to use it like once, very rarely or infrequently. You know what I mean? We are actively investigating ways to improve the feature to address these concerns. Going forward, we also plan to offer multiple ways to obtain trade tokens, including through event distributions. Now, we'll finish reading the statement. As always, thank you for being part of the Pokemon TCG Pocket community, and that's it. So, this at first glance sounds good. Going forward, we also plan to offer multiple ways to obtain trade tokens, including through event distributions. There are two sides to this. On one hand, I'm of the belief, and many of us are of the belief, right? You guys agree that trading is too expensive. It should be a feature that free-to-play players are able to take advantage of in order to acquire cards that they can't afford to just throw money at the game in order in hopes of you know, obtaining, right? Still encourages whales to whale out because we can't trade for immersives and crown rares and 2-stars, and it goes for everybody, right? But if you make it so that the tokens are easier to obtain, that is at first glance a good thing, because then players can, you know, actually trade more often and don't have to sacrifice as many cards in order to get the required amount. Because as it stands right now, you need to sacrifice 4 or 5 cards of the same rate. Like basically you need to sacrifice 4 EX cards in order to trade for 1, but you also have to give up a card in the trade. So you need 5 like EXs to trade for 1, or 5 1-stars to trade for 1, or like what was the number off the top of my head? Was it like 16, like 4 diamonds or something like that in order to get enough to trade for you know, another card or whatever? And that cost is just way too high. It's way too high for the players who actually need that feature. You know what I mean? So making them easier to acquire is good. However, when you make the tokens easier to acquire, that then gets rid of that argument for improving the feature and like opening it up more, and like potentially taking off the restriction or the limitation of it only going up to 1 star. So like, you know, for 2-star cards and immersive rares and crown rares. And what I mean is, if the feature becomes a lot more accessible to the free-to-play player base, which it absolutely should, I think that would make them less likely to open it up more in terms of like higher rarity cards. And that's my only thing. I just feel like if, you know, if they do enough to where it's like, you know, the free-to-play players benefit from it, those of us who, you know, spend money at the game, we're probably still not going to benefit a lot from the feature at all, if ever. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like my only like gripe or like you know, reluctancy or whatever with that. I still think that they probably should, because whether a whale like myself benefits or not, who cares? I guess at the end of the day, I mean, I do care, but I guess it is more important for, or I would argue that it's more important for the players who can't afford to just throw money at the game to have to be able to do something. You know what I'm saying? Because like, while I feel like this is a mechanic that a feature that everybody should be able to use and everybody should be able to benefit from, at the very least, well, you can make the argument one way or the other, because it's like, why do the free players get the benefit and the players who are like supporting this game nonstop with their wallets, that we get nothing in return? It's like, there's just both sides to it. I don't know. I be seeing both sides, like Chanel, shout out Frank Ocean, but you know what I mean? I feel more for the free to play players than anything else, and it's just like, as it stands, like they just, it was basically useless. Like I didn't pull any punches in my rant video. I talked a lot about how garbage I thought the system was. But with that being said, let me see what the community has to say actually in his replies. So let me open up the tweet. I'm actually logged in real quick. Give me 1 second. As I'm recording this, someone in my chat says, the devil will be in the detail. Companies can always come up with a we're listening statement like this, but many of those won't deliver, so we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm pretty much at the point where like, I don't want to give companies the benefit of the doubt anymore. Like you have to prove it to me. You have to show me, right? You could say anything that you want and like stuff sound good on paper, but like I need action. You know what I'm saying? I need results. Because like it's just been too many times where these like empty promises are made that don't truly deliver. But anyway, let's jump back over to the monitor and see how the community is responding to this. This tweet was just made about 25 minutes ago as of this recording, so there's still hundreds of replies. Need a chat feature to organize trades. Okay, this is one that I've seen a lot. Not this specific request, but one thing I've seen people talking about a lot in regards to trades is that like you can't communicate, or like you don't even really know what you're trading, or you know what I'm saying. And I guess I understand now, but at first I was kind of confused by this, because I was like, so are there a lot of players that just have like these random people on their friends list? Because I don't know about you guys, that with the people on my friends list are people like I know, like actually, you know, like my homie Thunder, Afro, my girl, Rhyme Style, the homie Bird, you know what I'm saying? Like the people on my friends list are people that I know and could contact and communicate with. So for me, the trade feature is something I would only be using if I was to text one of them or message them on Discord or on Twitter, like, hey bro, I'm trying to do this trade real quick. You down? You got this, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to like randomly queuing up a trade and hoping that they bite on it or something like that. But I guess the way that the feature is presented, like you should be able to do it all in game. You should be able to communicate certain things in game. So I do feel like this is something that they could and probably should implement. It just was kind of like weird to me at first. I was like, I don't understand the purpose or the point, but like, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like there are people who are probably doing trades with complete and total strangers or random people, or like you should be able to. That makes sense. But at first it was kind of something where I was like, I was confused why so many people were making this point, and I was like, oh well, I guess, you know, not everybody is obviously not everybody just has their friends list is full of people that they actually know in real life. Like that makes sense. It's actually surprising that they're listening, hoping trading won't be as expensive, or at least give us an option to get tokens from 1 and 2 diamond cards, because I don't need 30 Heliop tiles. You know, we can say that they're listening all we want, but you know, the fact that the feature released as poorly as it did, I mean, I think it already speaks volumes about a lot. But allow trading between friends and non-friends, allow trading between any rarity, allow trading of any rarity. This one, not gonna happen unless it requires an exorbitant amount of a lower rarity to trade for a higher rarity. So like, even if they limit it to 1-star cards, right, and it doesn't ever get increased, you would have to make it so that it takes, like, let's say you want to trade like 1 diamond cards, like it's gonna have to take like 50, 100 cards or something like that to be able to trade for like a high rarity card. And then let alone if you're trying to trade for like an immersive rare or a 2-star, like they would make it, and in my opinion, understandably so, cost a lot of those lower ones in order to, you know what I'm saying, equate to the higher ones. But yeah, I do feel like there are things that they could do to open it up to the higher rarity. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if you're going to make it easier to acquire the tokens, like you still have to make it in a way that like it benefits people who throw money at the game because it costs so much. Because like if you make high rarity ones cost a lot, and that's the thing, it's like the EXs and the 1-star cards, those are not the ones that like we're really hunting for. So the fact that they cost as much as they did for being so low rarity, or like, you know, middle of the pack rarity, is like, yo, but like you can scale that up. You know what I'm saying? Like you can make it cost a ton when we're talking about a crown rare or an immersive rare, because then you encourage players to like grind the game and play a lot more, which in turn will probably encourage a lot of them to spend more money. And that gets the people active, gets them playing the game more, and they might want to save up in order to get that super rare card that they haven't pulled yet. And then likewise, even the whales, it's like, well, we gotta throw a lot of money at the game in order to get enough currency to trade for the cards of that rare. It's like there are ways to do it, man. There's you know what I'm saying? Like they absolutely can. It's just a matter of not whether they want to, you know. Let's see what else we got interesting in here. To be honest, the tokens aren't my problem. It's the fact that I can't even trade for the card I want. It's just completely random. Should implement a future feature where you give up the card for requests of a specific card instead. Yeah, so basically like when you, so again, for me, this is something I never even considered, and I've seen this come up a lot, so it is absolutely worth acknowledging and something that they should take into account and consider. For me, the idea of the trade feature was like, I'm only trading cards with people that I actually know, or like maybe if it was a viewer or someone in chat, someone that I'm actively communicating with outside of the game anyway. But if you're not doing that, you're essentially just hoping that they give you something that you want, or like, you know, that they offer up something that you're looking for, that you want. Why is it not available to you in game? For one, to be able to communicate with the player, but also when you put up a card for offer on trade, you should be able to have like 3 to 5 cards that you put under that card and say, these are what I'm looking for, or this is what I'm missing. I'm willing to trade this card for this card. If you have one of these cards, I will trade it for the one that I'm offering up. Why is that not, you know what I'm saying? Like that should be doable. This guy says, so basically trade tokens aren't going away. Sounds like you hear us, but it isn't changing. And honestly, that's not something I expected to change. The token thing, they pretty much had their mind made up. And like at best, I feel like we can ask them to lower the cost. And as I already mentioned, making tokens easier to acquire. But eliminating them altogether, I'm certain that's not something that's ever going to happen or change. But this one is a sentiment I've seen a couple of times, and like something I thought of as well. Add a level cap before you can trade more rare cards. That'll stop the bots. And yeah, like if you make it so that you have to be a certain level before you get access to the trading feature, that stops bots, and for people being able to just re-roll, open up a fresh account, and then, you know, just do trades or whatever. Like I said, there are plenty of ideas you can come up with to make it so that you can trade more than the 1-star rarity. And you know, me personally, I'm not even asking for the crown rares, bro, but just the 2 stars, bro. The 2 stars, that's really what I want, is the 2-star. The immersives and the crowns, like I get it, but like it really could just be up to any rarity and just make it super expensive for the top cards. It would at least make sense at that point. But this one's got a lot of interaction. Let's see what the replies are looking like on this one. I think you missed the point of a bot. It could just farm hours and hours of battles and get to X level. Yeah, I guess people could set up macros and stuff, and even if like they're like losing, but also, you know, even a bot would probably win some. Yeah, a common sentiment I'm seeing is that like having to sacrifice so many cards for a card of the same rarity just doesn't make sense. Like I said, you basically have to sacrifice 4 plus the one that you're trading in order to get one back. Like 5 EXs for 1 EX card is a bit much. But it would make sense if I was sacrificing 5 EX cards for like a 2-star or something like that. Like I feel like that would make more sense. And again, like what's actually the right number to put in place for these? I don't know. But yeah, they're listening. They're listening. So some changes are coming. I don't know what they're gonna do outside of just making tokens easier to acquire. I'm sure they'll probably throw you some for solo battles, and I don't know, maybe you get a level system in game, and I don't really know, but time will tell. My expectations are low, my hopes are high, but not too high because I don't want to set myself up for failure or disappointment. You guys let me know, what do you think? Hit me with your thoughts in the comments down below. Hit this video with a like if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you can stay tuned for all this content I bring you. And with all that being said, that's pretty much all I have for today. And remember, nothing could happen to you, swing the vibe. Later.